What if I told you that 3 pennies sitting in your junk drawer could actually be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars? Sounds crazy, right? But it's true, and it's not just pennies. There are quarters, nickels, dimes, even modern coins minted just a couple of years ago, hiding in plain sight. And today, we're going to uncover one of the most exciting finds of them all, the 2022 United States Louisiana $quarter coin. Grab your magnifying glass and your coin jar, because you want to check your stash after hearing this story. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and maybe, just maybe, you've already got one of these little treasures hiding at home. And if you love rare coins, mysterious mint errors, and stories of everyday people striking it rich, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and smash that bell icon so you never miss a new episode. All right, let's get into it now. The 2022 Louisiana $quarter coin may not look like much at first glance. After all, it's just a quarter, right? Just another 25-cent piece, like the thousands you've seen before. But behind this small piece of metal is a fascinating story of American history, careful craftsmanship, and, believe it or not, some stunning mistakes that turned ordinary coins into extraordinary collectibles. The Louisiana Quarter is part of the the Beautiful State Quarter series, a program that started back in 1999. Every year, the U.S. Mint releases designs celebrating different states, parks, or historical sites. And in 2022, Louisiana finally got its turn to shine. The design itself is beautiful. On the obverse, you see the familiar portrait of George Washington, but on the reverse, that's where the magic happens. The Louisiana coin features a striking depiction of the Great Mississippi River cutting through lush wetlands, with an egret taking flight. It's a tribute to the state's incredible natural beauty and wildlife, and a nod to its deep connection with America's waterways. Now here's the thing. Millions of these coins were minted. You can walk into just about any store, pay with cash, and possibly get one of your change. But, and this is important, not all Louisiana quarters are created equal. Why? Because of mint errors. What exactly is a mint error? Well, when coins are struck at the U.S. Mint, the process is fast, precise, and highly automated. But even the best machines and the most experienced staff aren't perfect. Occasionally, mistakes slip through the cracks, and when they do, collectors go wild. Let's talk about a few specific errors that make these Louisiana quarters and coins like them so valuable. First up is the double die obverse. This happens when the coin die, the metal stamp used to strike the image onto the coin, shifts slightly between impressions. The result? Letters, numbers, or even parts of the design appear doubled. On the Louisiana Quarter, collectors have spotted double die obverse errors where United States of America or Liberty looks slightly shadowed or doubled. These can be hard to see with the naked eye. So if you think you've got one, grab a magnifying glass or even a jeweler's loupe and inspect it closely. Next, we've got proof errors. Proof coins are supposed to be the creme de la creme. Coins struck with extra care and polished dies for collectors. But sometimes proof coins are struck on the wrong planchet, or with smudges, scratches, or hazing. A proof Louisiana quarter with a mistake can fetch serious money at auction. And of course, there are the classic off-center strikes. This happens when the blank coin isn't properly aligned in the press, and the design ends up shifted or incomplete. Some off-center errors are minor, but the more dramatic the mistake, the more valuable the coin. In fact, a Louisiana quarter with a significant off-center strike, where a good chunk of the design is missing, could be worth thousands of dollars to the right collector. Now you might be wondering, why do people pay so much for these errors? Well, collectors love rarity. The U.S. Mint strives for perfection, so mistakes are rare. And when a rare error makes it into circulation, it becomes a prize for anyone lucky enough to find it. Imagine this. You're buying a cup of coffee. The cashier hands you some change. You slip it into your pocket without thinking. Later that night, you're emptying your pockets, and there it is, a Louisiana quarter. But wait, something looks odd. The lettering is doubled, or the design is way off center, or the surface has strange marks that don't belong. Congratulations. You might be holding a coin worth thousands. And speaking of thousands, let's talk numbers. Right now, collectors and auction houses are seeing Louisiana quarters with major errors selling for anywhere between $19,000 and $155,000 plus minus, depending on the condition and rarity of the error. That's right. A single quarter, worth just 25 cents at face value, could actually be worth more than a brand new car. Now, before you rush to the bank and ask for rolls of quarters, Keep in mind, these high prices are for rare, exceptional errors in excellent condition. Not every Louisiana quarter is going to fetch six figures. But even a minor double die or off-center strike could still sell for hundreds or even thousands. If you find the right buyer at SO, is it worth checking your change? Absolutely, yes. Oh, well, the next time you get quarters back at the grocery store, don't just toss them in a jar. Take a moment to look. Turn them over. Check the date. And if you see a 2022 Louisiana quarter, give it a good, close inspection. You just might have a hidden treasure on your hands. 3. The 1999 United States Delaware Quarter Dollar. This ordinary-looking coin can sometimes carry an extraordinary value, and you might already have one sitting in your house, waiting to be discovered. So stick around, because I'm going to tell you the fascinating story behind this coin, how it was designed, how it was minted, what makes certain ones so rare, and exactly which minting errors you should be on the lookout for. Plus, at the very end, I'll reveal just how much one of these rare Delaware quarters can sell for today. And let me tell you, it's enough to make you want to check your change jar tonight. So, let's dive in. The Delaware Quarter is more than just another coin. In 1999, the United States Mint launched one of its most popular programs ever, the 50 State Quarters program. The idea was simple but brilliant. Honor each of the 50 states with its own unique quarter design, released in the order that each state ratified the Constitution or joined the Union. Delaware was first because, back in 1787, it became the very first state. And so in January 1999, the U.S. Mint released the Delaware Quarter, marking the start of a nationwide collecting frenzy. The coin itself is a beauty. On the obverse, you've got the familiar face of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, a fixture on quarters since 1932. But the real magic is on the reverse. William Cousins designed the back of the Delaware Quarter to honor a moment in American history that most of us never learned about in school. It shows Caesar Rodney on horseback, galloping to Philadelphia to cast Delaware's vote for independence at the Continental Congress in 1776. It's a powerful image, full of motion and urgency, capturing a moment that helped shape our nation's future. Now, here's the thing. Over 774 million Delaware quarters were minted in 1999 across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. So on the surface, this isn't exactly a rare coin. You can still find Delaware quarters in circulation today. But that's what makes the story so interesting. Because not all Delaware quarters are created equal. You see, even with all of today's technology, the minting process isn't perfect. Mistakes still happen. And in the world of coin collecting, these mistakes, called mint errors, are what turn an ordinary coin into something truly valuable. So let me walk you through 3 of the most common types of errors you should look for if you want to find a rare Delaware quarter hiding in your change. The first error to watch for is called the double die obverse. This happens when the coin die, the steel stamp used to impress the design, shifts slightly between strikes, creating a doubled image. On the Delaware Quarter, you'll want to look closely at the words United States of America, Liberty, and the date 1999. With a magnifying glass, you might see the letters or numbers appear to have shadows or outlines, which actually means they were struck twice. These double die errors are some of the most sought after by collectors because they're easy to miss yet visually striking once you notice them. The second type of error is the proof error. Proof coins are specially made for collectors. They're struck on highly polished blanks, usually twice, to create a sharp, mirror-like finish. But sometimes the process goes wrong. A Delaware proof quarter with haze, scratches, or struck on the wrong type of blank can become much more valuable than its flawless counterparts. And finally, there's the classic off-center strike. This happens when the blank coin isn't lined up properly in the press, and as a result, part of the design is shifted off to one side. The more dramatic the misalignment, while still showing the date and enough of the design to identify the coin, the higher the value. Some Delaware quarters with extreme off-center strikes have sold for thousands of dollars. Why do collectors pay so much for these errors? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. Collectors love unique pieces, and since the mint works so hard to prevent errors, only a few of these flawed coins ever make it out into circulation. That makes them rare, and rarity drives value. Now here's where it gets really exciting. You don't have to be a professional collector or visit a fancy auction house to find one of these rare coins. They're out there right now, in your pockets, in your purse, in your kids' piggy banks. People all over the country are finding them in their spare change. Picture this. You're about to do laundry, and you reach in your pocket for quarters. You notice one looks a little off. Maybe the letters look doubled. Maybe the design seems shifted. Or maybe it just shines differently, like it was struck with a proof die. That's the moment you realize you could be holding a small fortune in your hand.so. How much are we talking about here? Well, it depends on the condition of the coin and the severity of the error. A minor double die or a modest off-center strike might bring in a few $100s. Still pretty amazing for a 25-cent coin. But the more dramatic and rare the error, and the better the condition, the more valuable it becomes. Some of these rare 1999 Delaware quarters have sold for anywhere between $12,500 to $110,000 plus minus, depending on its condition. That's right. One quarter, one tiny piece of metal could pay for a car or even a big chunk of a house that has, oh, how can you tell if you got one? Well, it's actually pretty easy to start. First, grab yourself a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. They're inexpensive and they make spotting errors much easier. Then, compare your Delaware quarter to a standard one online or in a coin book. Look carefully at the lettering, the numbers, and the edges. Do you see doubling? Is the design off-center? Does the finish look different? If you see something that looks unusual, don't just assume it's worthless. Take it to a professional coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. They can tell you exactly what you have and what it's worth. And that's the magic of coin collecting. It's like a treasure hunt you can do anytime, anywhere. You don't need special skills or fancy equipment. All you need is your eyes, your curiosity, and a little bit of luck as, oh, here's my challenge to you. Tonight, after this video, grab your change jar, dump it out, and start looking. You might just find one of these rare Delaware quarters hiding in there, waiting for you to discover it. And who knows, 25 cents could turn into $12,500 or more. If you enjoyed this story and learned something new today, please give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel and lets me know you want more content like this. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss another coin mystery, that we've got so many more stories coming your way. Rare coins, fascinating errors, and incredible finds hiding in plain sight. You'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. In fact, today we're going to talk about one specific coin that looks completely ordinary at first glance. It's shiny, it's round, it's a quarter. But certain rare versions of this coin have sold for prices that will absolutely blow your mind. I'm talking about the 1999 United States Pennsylvania quarter dollar. This little coin carries with it an incredible story, a rich design, and some fascinating minting errors that make it one of the most sought-after quarters in the entire 50-state quarter series.so. Make yourself comfortable and stick around to the very end, because not only am I going to tell you everything you need to know about this coin, its history, its beautiful design, its minting quirks, and the rare errors to watch for, but I'm also going to reveal exactly how much some of these rare versions are selling for right now. You might just want to grab your change jar by the time we're done. Let's get started.so first. Let's set the scene. The year was 1999. The United States Mint was launching one of its most ambitious and popular coin programs ever, the 50-state quarters program. The idea was simple but brilliant. Release one special quarter for each of the 50 states, with a unique design on the back that reflected that state's history or culture. Each coin would be released in the order the states joined the Union. Delaware kicked it off in January 1999, and not long after, Pennsylvania took its turn in the spotlight. Pennsylvania was the second state to ratify the Constitution back in 1787, so its quarter came next. And what a beautiful coin it is. Let's talk about the design. On the front, as always, you have the familiar portrait of George Washington by John Flanagan. We've all seen that 1,000 times. But the real magic is on the reverse. Pennsylvania's quarter features an outline of the state, with a beautiful statue called the Commonwealth Statue in the center and an elegant keystone symbol to honor Pennsylvania's nickname, the Keystone State. The words virtue, liberty, independence, Pennsylvania's motto, wrapped around the design in fine lettering. It's a classic and understated design, and it remains one of the most elegant coins in the series. Now, here's where it starts to get really interesting. The U.S. Mint struck more than 707 million Pennsylvania quarters that year, from the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. So you might think, well, if there are that many, it can't be worth anything special, right? But that's where you'd be wrong. Even though hundreds of millions were made, not all of them came out perfect. And in the world of coin collecting, imperfections can actually make a coin more desirable. That's because collectors love rarity, and nothing makes a coin rarer than a minting error. What kind of errors should you be looking for on a 1999 Pennsylvania quarter? Let's break down the three most exciting ones that could turn your ordinary change into something extraordinary. The first, and probably the most famous, is called the double die obverse. This happens when the coin die, the steel stamp that impresses the design onto the blank, shifts slightly between strikes. As a result, some elements of the design, usually the lettering and numbers, appear doubled. On a Pennsylvania quarter, check closely around the date 1999, the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" for signs of doubling. You might need a magnifying glass to see it clearly, but if you spot it, congratulations. Those double die obverse errors can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on how strong the doubling is and how good the coin's condition is. The second type of error to watch for is a proof error. Proof coins are specially made for collectors. They're struck on polished blanks, usually twice, to create a mirror-like surface with incredibly sharp details. But sometimes mistakes slip through. A Pennsylvania proof quarter struck on the wrong blank, or struck with flaws like smudges or weak strikes, can actually be more valuable than a flawless proof. Why? Because collectors love oddities, and when a proof coin looks unique, that's a big deal. And then, of course, there's the classic off-center strike. This one is easy to spot. It happens when the blank isn't properly centered under the die, and part of the design gets cut off. The more dramatic the off-center strike, while still showing enough of the date and design to identify the coin, the higher its value. Some off-center Pennsylvania quarters have sold for thousands, simply because they're so unusual. Now, here's what makes this story so exciting. These rare errors are out there, right now, sitting in jars of change, in purses and pockets, in cash registers and vending machines. People overlook them every single day. You could be holding one already and not even know it. Imagine this. You're getting quarters out for laundry, and one of them looks a little different. Maybe the letters look doubled. Maybe the design is off to one side. Maybe it's shinier than the rest. And suddenly it hits you. You just might have a rare Pennsylvania quarter worth serious money. You might be wondering, how serious are we talking? Well, here's the moment you've been waiting for. Depending on the type of error, the strength of the strike, and the condition of the coin, these rare 1999 Pennsylvania quarters have been known to sell for anywhere between $12,500 to $110,000 plus minus, depending on its condition. That's right. One 25-cent coin could be worth more than most people make in a year. Well, how can you tell if your Pennsylvania quarter is valuable? Here's what I recommend. First, get yourself a good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. You can find one online for less than $10. Then, under good light, check your quarter carefully. Compare it to pictures of known errors online. If you see doubling or a dramatic off-center strike, or it just looks off somehow, don't spend it. Instead, take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it in to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it for you and even grade it, which can boost its value even more. And that's one of the things I love about coins. This hobby is like a treasure hunt you can do anywhere, anytime. You don't need special skills. You don't need to invest thousands of dollars to get started. All you need is a little curiosity, a sharp eye, and maybe a bit of luck. Before you spend your change at the store tomorrow, take a second to really look at it. There's no telling what you might find. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever found a rare coin in your change? Or maybe you're just getting started on your own treasure hunt. Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story and learned something new today, please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you want more content like this. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss another coin mystery. We've got plenty more stories coming your way. Rare coins, fascinating errors, and incredible finds just waiting to be uncovered. Who knows? The next great discovery might just be in your pocket. Thanks for watching, happy hunting, and good luck.